Hi, my name is Braden. I go by Coach Cadd on the internet, and I help busy people get stuff done fast. I work with busy people, high achievers, leaders, people who need to get things done with the least amount of time and the least amount of stress possible. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite advanced training concepts, and that's rest pause and cluster sets. Okay, so let's talk about the important stuff first. We need to understand that it very much depends what your goal is. If your goal is to build as much muscle as possible, and that includes trying to lose fat, because having more muscle is also going to help through that process, and it's also going to help you look better at the end of that process. So if your goal is to lose fat or build as much muscle as possible, then you need to understand that we actually want you to get tired during your training. We want you to be pushing hard. We want you to be using a heavy weight, and we want you to be getting close to failure near the end of your sets. This is slightly different from those of you who have the main goal of building as much strength as possible. If your goal is just to get strong, we're going to be able to apply these same techniques, but a little bit differently for a little bit of a different goal. So today we're talking first about cluster sets. So a cluster set is a little bit of a different rep scheme. So let's just say you're going to do a set of 9 reps. You would break that into clusters of 3, 3, and 3. You're going to take about a 15 to 20 second pause between each of those clusters, right? So you're going to perform 3 reps, take a 15-second rest, 3 reps, 15-second rest, 3 reps. Now, this is a great technique for strength training. The reason is because you're going to be able to use a much heavier weight for a set of 3 than you are for a set of 9. That sounds pretty obvious, right? But we're giving you a chance to actually partially recover between each of those sets of 3. Okay, so you're not going to be using your absolute heaviest weight you can use for 3 reps, but you're also going to be using a heavier weight than you would do for a set of 9. And I know that's going to hurt some of you out there just to say the words set of 9 because you're so used to going 8, 10, 12. But yes, it's okay if you hit a set of 9. But let's say for a second that your goal is strength, right? In strength training, we want you to be able to perform. We don't want you to be getting too close to failure. We don't want your technique to be breaking down. We want to get you very strong through a very specific movement. We want to get you good at repeating that. Okay, strength is quite relative to the exercise that you're doing. So we want to get you very, very efficient at the exercise you're doing. Cluster sets can be amazing for that because by hitting a heavy set of 3, giving you a little bit of time to recover, hitting another set of 3, and repeating that, you're getting a lot of time to work on your technique. You're getting a little bit of time to recover so you can make sure that you're moving the bar fast and that you're setting up well between the exercises, right? This is a technique I love for deadlifts. It's a little bit harder on squats because of the time spent re-racking the bar, but for something like deadlifts, it's amazing. I'm actually doing this myself at the moment with my deadlifts. I'm picking a weight that I can do for 5 reps, and then I'm doing 3 reps, resting for about 10, 20 seconds, then I'm doing another 2 reps. Okay, even though I could probably do that weight for 5 reps in a row, by doing the cluster, I'm able to give myself a little bit of a break, and I'm able to work on resetting my position and actually focusing on moving the bar fast, making sure every rep looks exactly the same. Now, one thing that is important again to know with strength training is that fatigue is not that important. With some of the studies we have, it kind of suggests that actually getting used to handling that heavy load is probably going to be a much bigger factor than training close to failure, right? So this is great because it allows us those partial recoveries throughout. Now, make no mistake, just because you're taking more rest in there does not make this easier. You should be then scaling up the kind of weight, the kind of load that you're actually performing. And again, working on maintaining that bar speed throughout every rep. That stuff is hard. And I do not recommend using this on your heavy compound lifts if you don't have some heavy strength training experience, if you're not good at lifting the 2s, 3s, 4s with good control and good technique. Even on some of your more accessory exercises, things like a lat pull down, this can be a really, really good method. I use this all the time. It's one of my favorites. If my goal is hypertrophy, I might push those brackets up a little bit higher. I might go 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, anything like that. All right, so moving now into rest pause. This is where I think this video will be the most interesting for most of you. Rest pause is a similar technique, but you're basically taking the pauses as you need it to give yourself a chance to recover, rather than knowing when you're going to take the pauses before the set starts, like with a cluster set. For example, let's say I'm going to do bicep curls and I'm going, 8, 9, rep 10 starts to get pretty hard. The bar starts to slow down. Maybe I can do another 2 reps. What I'll do then is I'll stop, take 15 or 20 seconds, and then go again, right? This is similar to Myo-Reps, but again, giving yourself a little bit of time to rest, going again. You might repeat that, pause again, 15, 20 seconds, and then do another set, right? This is a bit more of a reactive strategy so that you can make sure that you're accumulating a lot of volume and getting really, really close to failure. Rest pause sets like this can be a really, really good way to keep your training interesting. It can be a really, really good way to actually push through a bit of fatigue or just challenge yourself, okay? It's important, again, for people who not many people are super motivated by the gym, right? Not many of us actually want to go in and grind every day on the same program. So rest pauses and throwing in these kinds of things can be really time efficient because you'll probably be toasted after 2 sets. Today we're going to go through something that I like to use to build my biceps. I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do this all the time, but it's a bit of fun, it keeps things interesting, gets you a really good pump. I've been calling it the 16 trigrams. What we're going to do is we're going to work up to a strict 8 reps for a bicep curl. After that, for your second set, you're going to do 4 reps on each arm with that weight. You're going to do 4 on one side and alternate to the other arm, and then keep going back and forward, doing 4 reps on each side until you've done 16 reps on each arm. Now this is going to be brutal because it's going to get you a lot more reps per set than you could get on your own. It's essentially a bit of a rest pause method. We're only going to do 2 sets of this, and that's probably all you'll need. Again, it's a bit of fun. I wouldn't recommend it all the time, but it's a good way to push yourself and see just how much pain you can take. And it's a really good way to keep things interesting. But more than that, we also have an increased potential for hypertrophy because it allows you to increase the amount of quality reps you can do. Now, again, that's important. When you're taking these rest pauses, we want to make sure that they're allowing you to increase the amount of actual quality reps that you're getting. If by the time you're getting to rep 9 on your bicep curls, you're swinging your whole body, you're using every muscle in your body to lift that dumbbell, then doing more of that isn't going to improve. Taking a rest pause, and then doing more reps isn't going to improve your results. The rest pause, in my opinion, is most useful when it allows you to maintain that speed, that tension on the muscle for more reps than you would have been able to otherwise. So I'm going to show you some examples in my own training and some techniques I like to use, but I hope this has been helpful. These are really good techniques, like I said, to keep things interesting and to push yourself outside your comfort zone. You can absolutely use cluster methods for hypertrophy or muscle building, and you can use rest pause for strength. But it's important you're taking a step back and being a little bit smart about how you're applying these to your own training. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments, or have you tried clusters or rest pause and what was your experience? Let me know. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video. Please remember to like and subscribe. It goes a long way to help me try and beat the YouTube algorithm. I will see you next time. Second set here, so I was a little bit light on the first set. I ended up getting 10 or 12 reps, so a little bit heavier. 4 reps on each side until I got 16 in total. close on that today, so I'll call it there. I won't get through a third set. There's no point, but I'll stay on that same weight. I'll repeat that until I can get 60 in total. Whew.